everybody, and welcome to Offhand Ideas. I am very excited for this video today because we are going to be talking about Dano Draws, more specifically Toon Turf. My 1-year anniversary is coming up, and I wanted to make this video more of really an honoring point of just one of the creators that most inspired me to be on this channel, but that's not really what this video is. What this video is exactly is just me telling you guys a bunch of theories I have on Toon Turf. And it's not really just going to be me having a overarching bunch of theories inside of one video kind of deal. It's going to be how I think I have solved Toon Turf while writing this script. So, before we get in, please like, comment, subscribe. My 1-year anniversary video is coming up, and I do not think you want to miss that. I am planning something very big, so be subscribed and notified so you won't miss it. I have a feeling you'll truly like it. But let's get into it. So, how I'm going to start this timeline, which I made a timeline, you can see it right here, of how I'm going to start this. You can see that I'm not going to start when Riggy was with his family. I'm going to start when he first moves to Toonville, and I'm going to end at the season finale. Well, not at the season finale. I'm going to end where I think I don't really have a lot of, say on what's going to happen anymore, and that's kind of going to be, I think in the middle of the show, pretty much. So, with that information, let's get into it. Grab a snack and listen to me theorizing on how I solved Toon Turf. Let's get into it! So, to start off this theory, I'm going to start with Riggy first moving into Toonville. So, Toonville, as a city, I think, is populated by the Toons, and their mayor, who is nepotist to Lucky, even though Lucky is not the mayor's son, uses Lucky, who is a famous actor in this world, to draw people into Toonville to boost the population, which kind of makes sense. You don't want to have a ghost town called Toonville. That would not be good marketing on my front. But this is where Riggy comes in. And once Riggy comes in, he meets Barry and Rory, who we are going to get into later, because Rory has done some wrong. That's why he hasn't been appearing in more of the more recent Dano shorts, just Barry. So, we're going to start at the canon event of this series. Right after Riggy moves in, we get introduced to a new character, Billy the Beaver. Billy the Beaver has a single parent named Bethel who works as a teacher, and Billy the Beaver has really always wanted to prove himself to his mother because his father passed away at a very young age, and his mom is working day and night to just make a living for them. So, one night, Billy is off on his own, and he sees Lucky doing something horrible. What horrible thing, you may ask? My answer, I don't know. It's just gotta be something so horrible that Billy runs back to his house, and once Lucky sees Billy observing what he did, Lucky calls Billy with a bribe saying that, oh, you are going to get a lot of money if you come to this specific plushie factory in the middle of the night, and Barry desperately wanting to Billy desperately wanting to get him and his mom some money so they can support themselves, goes to the factory, only for Lucky to lock him in and start a fire. And why he started this fire, it goes back to the horrible thing I said earlier. I don't think Lucky would want the citizens of Toonville to know what he did. So the most logical asking point in Lucky's mind was really to kill any other witnesses. And that's exactly what he did. And Riggy intertwines with this story because he's walking around and he sees the factory on fire and Billy screaming for his life. Riggy tries to open the doors to the plushie factory that's on fire, but they are locked, and Billy dies after that. And Lucky, wanting to pin someone out for this, calls the cops on Riggy. And the cops, seeing Riggy, they think that he is the prime suspect. And with this, Riggy runs away and just hides. And Billy dies shortly after that. And that leaves Riggy as public enemy number 1. on Toonville. So that's not really the best opening point for Riggy, having a body count that he didn't kill. So next, what happens is that he goes to the funeral and meets Rosie, voiced by Dano's girlfriend Leia, and a forming relationship within the show. He meets Rosie, and Rosie does not know that Riggy killed Billy, but she is in grief because Billy was one of her best friends growing up. So, you can imagine once Rosie learns of Riggy supposedly killing Billy, she's pretty darn prejudiced toward Riggy, and I know why. Meanwhile, with Lucky wants to get more dirt on Riggy, but he doesn't know how. But the thing is, he soon learns how Sorry, lost my breath. As we resume, by hiring P.I. Detective E. Blade. And P.I. stands for Private Detective, if you guys don't know that. So he hires Detective E. Blade to get more info on Riggy and what are Riggy's strengths and weaknesses? How can Lucky, get him out? How Lucky can get in his head and just anger him and break him, tear him apart. And he hires Detective E. Blade to do this. So Detective E. Blade tries his hardest to keep tabs on Riggy, but Riggy soon notices this and just shakes him off, saying, "Go away, I don't want you here, Detective E. Blade, shoo! So Detective E. Blade does the one thing that no one else thought of. He hires an actor who looks similar to Riggy, that being Rory. So Rory and Rory's friend Barry are hired to go undercover and pretend to be Riggy's friends, and that works immaculately. They pretend to be Riggy's friend, but then during all this, Barry feels that this is wrong, and he actually wants to be Riggy's friend. Rory, on the other hand, doesn't even care. He is willing to just doing work and getting paid good money to do it. So he can't care less. So Barry actually begins to break out of the job and starts to actually be Riggy's friend. But Rory, on the other hand, does not. And one night, while they're in Riggy's treehouse together, Barry has had enough of this faking and points out Rory for being a spy. Rory is understandably betrayed by this and is angered that Barry would do this. And Riggy, feeling betrayed as any friend would that one of their friends was faking it, is just angered at Rory and calls him a fraud. He throws him out of the treehouse and he goes back to Detective A. Blade to tell him the dirt he's got on Riggy. And after he spills this to Detective E. Blade, he tells it to Lucky. So now Lucky knows Riggy's strengths and weaknesses. And during all this, Rosie and Riggy are actually forming a relationship because of all this, because Rosie, over the time of this friendship and Lucky planning and scheming as usual, she is forming a relationship with Riggy, and Riggy is explaining that he didn't do this. Lucky did, and Rosie is beginning to believe him as they form a romantic relationship as they do in the shorts. So then, as they're doing this, Lucky, in the middle of the series I assume, comes to Riggy's house with a load of police while him and Rosie and Barry are hanging out, and they say he is under arrest for the murdering of Billy. And Riggy goes to jail, where the Penguins eventually steal his kidney. And we end off on there in the middle of the series, while Rosie and Barry, who are, I assume, trying to bust him out of there, and Riggy is just sitting there in his own self-doubt, having no one and just being pinned out in a depressed slate, like how Dano was in the Dear Dano videos if you watched them. Just feeling alone and pointless, which is very realistic. Is very realistic for the audience I feel like this show is pinning towards. So, I'm ending it off there because I don't really have any other points to go on that, because I don't know. He hasn't really revealed any more than that, so I can't really theorize on any more stuff. If you want to see a part 2 to this, please like, comment, subscribe. Dano, thank you for everything you've done for me and my entire YouTube career. It really means a lot, and I just can't express my gratitude for how much you've done for me. I just want to say thank you as I'm approaching my 1 year, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!